They're fake. Everything's fake. It's weird. And so it's like, this is the clearest, like, fixed fight you're ever going to see. Look at this. That looks so fake.
What just happened?
He hit him with the left.
I know.
But watch it again. Let's watch
it.
it again. Look at this guy holding his hands up and watch. Watch this. He, like, literally shows him his chin.
And just goes, like,
and he goes down. It's also nuts, right? Just the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why?
The combat sports world just got turned completely upside down after some absolutely wild claims emerged from the latest Joe Rogan podcast episode. We're dealing with the Anthony Joshua Jake Paul situation here, and honestly, if even half of what's circulating online turns out to be legitimate, it's going to flip everything on its head.
What I could have done better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron, is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake.
So apparently Joshua dropped some major bombshells during what was supposed to be private conversation, specifically alleging that Jake Paul approached him with what can only be described as a bribe attempt before their scheduled bout. The details that are leaking out suggest Paul made this completely unexpected request that caught everyone off guard.
And it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no, that was skillful. So like there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out, one guy lands a punch, and yeah, he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy. Yeah. You know, like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for competition.
Yeah.
He's also nuts, right? Just the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till this.
This whole thing supposedly went down away from cameras and microphones, but now it's got the entire fan base questioning whether influencer boxing has any real legitimacy left. We're back to square one with these persistent allegations floating around, claiming that Paul's biggest marquee fights are essentially elaborate business arrangements disguised as actual athletic competition.
Jake Paul posted on Twitter after the fight, jaw broken, heart and balls intact. That's a good thing. Time to rest, recover, and return to cruiserweight. I mean, he's coming out of it as if, well, yeah, I got battered in the end, but boy.
That's what he will do. I mean, it depends what you think this was. I mean, I never felt it was anything other than entertainment. I'm not surprised that it, I mean, Anthony Joshua could have knocked Jake Paul out anytime he wanted to. He didn't want to.
So why didn't he?
Because, well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why? You watch a Netflix series, you can watch it and you can go, well, I get the gist of it. Why have you got to turn it into 10 episodes? Because I'm dying with boredom after episode.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasized, listen guys, take this as long.
Which brings us to this really uncomfortable reality check that's hanging over everything. The question everyone's avoiding but secretly obsessing over is whether we've been watching genuine sport or just premium entertainment with boxing gloves. Are these fighters actually trying to hurt each other, or are we paying to watch incredibly expensive theater?
Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this contest. And then he's trying to get out of the the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. He was fighting. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting a double leg position. Jake was fighting for his survival. You could see that this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through. It was incredible. And any boxer that wants to say, well, that wasn't high-level boxing, go ahead. I won't argue with you. But any human that says that wasn't a fight, yeah, it was a fight.
Rogan brings his usual no-nonsense approach to breaking down controversial situations like this one. He avoided making any direct accusations that could land him in courtroom trouble, but he definitely wasn't shy about questioning the authenticity of this entire situation.
Yeah.
In awe of the fact that you do what you do.
I mean, it's not that hard to get your ass beat. I won 2 rounds and then I got dropped, but it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there. But I had him wobbled at one point.
He hit you in the face, and not only did you not get knocked out, you dropped and said, wow.
Wow, that was nice. I was on the ground. I was like, that was a good shot.
Did he surprise you with his power?
He surprised my jaw. It's literally snapped. It's
What,
like
two-
a baseball in there. But yeah, I mean, I told everyone, though, that I would do better than Francis and that Francis kind of got no chin.
So
His analysis kept circling back to one glaring issue: the absolutely ridiculous difference in skill level, power, and fight intelligence between a legitimate former heavyweight champion and someone who started as a content creator. Rogan kept emphasizing that if Joshua had walked into that ring genuinely trying to end things as fast and violently as possible, we probably would have witnessed a very short and very brutal night.
You know, for me, in my opinion, I think it's scripted a little bit because, you know, up the weight difference, and you know, Joshua is a former, you know, champion, and also, you know, he's active, you know, and this is going to be the first time that we see Paul, you know, fighting an active fighter. You know, I mean, we seen the Mike Tyson, that was all fun, that was cute, you know what I'm saying? It's fun and games and stuff, but now you're dealing with a real professional, you know, and so we'll see how it ends up. You know, like I said, I think it's scripted, but you know, we're gonna see. At the end of the day, I just want everybody to have fun. I want them to enjoy themselves because we risk our lives for others' entertainment, and just go home safely to be able to have memories and say we did a great job.
But here's where his commentary got really interesting. He started connecting dots about how streaming platforms and these insane paycheck amounts are fundamentally reshaping combat sports. The financial motivation to drag fights out and create drama can actually override the instinct to win decisively. The entire economic structure has shifted beneath the sport itself. This ties into a much larger transformation happening across combat sports right now. The entertainment factor is becoming more valuable than pure competition in many cases. Simon Jordan decided to throw gasoline on this already massive controversy by stating what a lot of people suspected but nobody wanted to say directly. His claim was pretty straightforward. Anthony Joshua could have finished Jake Paul whenever he felt like it, but deliberately held back. Jordan's breakdown was actually pretty detailed when you look at it. He argued that the fight had to be extended to meet Netflix's business requirements and viewer engagement metrics, not traditional boxing standards of competition. His theory suggested that Joshua's power advantage, professional experience, and technical precision were so dramatically superior to Paul's current abilities that a first or second round knockout would have completely destroyed the entertainment value. Instead, according to Jordan's analysis, the fight required multiple rounds, artificial drama, and manufactured suspense to justify Netflix's massive financial investment in the worldwide audience they were targeting. Jordan didn't provide any smoking gun evidence or insider sources for these claims, but his observations definitely resonated with what many fans were already thinking. When major streaming companies and enormous financial deals become the driving force behind combat sports, the show business aspect can gradually overtake competitive integrity. It leaves audiences wondering afterward whether they witnessed authentic sport or carefully choreographed performance art. Charlie Sonnen came out swinging with probably the harshest criticism of the entire situation. His assessment was completely unforgiving when he declared that what happened that night was not boxing in any meaningful sense. From Sonnen's perspective, as someone deeply familiar with high-level competition, the event had every superficial characteristic of legitimate boxing. The setting, equipment, structure, and officials were all exactly what you'd expect, but according to him, it was missing every single essential element that actually makes boxing a real sport. His argument centered on something pretty fundamental. Authentic boxing at the championship level is defined by genuine danger, constant urgency, and the ever-present possibility that one mistake could end everything instantly. None of those crucial components existed in what he witnessed that night. Sonnen suggested the rhythm felt manufactured, the restraint appeared intentional, and the overall atmosphere reminded him more of a charity exhibition than a serious contest between two people genuinely trying to hurt each other. He carefully avoided making direct accusations about predetermined outcomes or fixed results, which would be serious legal territory, but his meaning was unmistakable. When elite-level fighters clearly possess the ability to end fights at will but consistently choose not to exercise that ability, the result stops being legitimate competition and becomes pure entertainment wearing a sport costume. His final verdict really summed it up perfectly. That was not a boxing match. It was something completely different. Once everything wrapped up, Anthony Joshua showed some unexpected honesty and self-reflection about how he performed in there. Even though he managed to get the technical victory with that 6th round knockout everyone witnessed, he openly admitted it wasn't close to his best work and acknowledged he could have done significantly better. Joshua was pretty candid about his struggles during the early rounds, specifically his difficulty landing clean combinations consistently and his inability to trap Jake Paul in corners as quickly as most experts and fans anticipated, especially considering the supposed skill gap between them. He characterized it as a win, but definitely not a success by his own professional standards, emphasizing that he needs major improvements if he seriously wants to return to championship-level competition. It was actually a surprisingly humble response considering he had just knocked out one of the most hyped fighters on the planet right now. Despite taking the loss, and this perfectly demonstrates Jake Paul's marketing brilliance, he immediately shifted all attention away from the defeat and toward his next potential opponent. Without missing a beat, he called out former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, who happens to possess some of the most terrifying knockout power in combat sports history. This post-fight callout was clearly planned in advance and represented a very strategic pivot from influencer boxing toward mixed martial arts crossover territory, which is where the biggest financial opportunities exist right now. The challenge wasn't just random trash talk or wounded ego, it was calculated positioning, using all the mainstream attention from the Joshua fight to establish himself as a credible threat to one of MMA's most feared knockout artists. Social media exploded with reactions ranging from genuine excitement to complete skepticism, with fans questioning whether Paul could realistically handle Ngannou's elite striking skills and wrestling background developed over years, competing in the UFC. But from Paul's business angle, and you have to respect his understanding of the entertainment game, the potential fight represents another opportunity to control news cycles for months, generate massive pay-per-view revenue, and push his personal brand deeper into mainstream combat sports territory. It's a continuation of his established pattern of high-risk, high-reward matchups that intentionally blur the boundaries between legitimate sport and pure spectacle in ways that keep people talking and, most importantly, buying. Deontay Wilder absolutely unloaded when discussing the Anthony Joshua-Jake Paul situation, describing it as one of the most puzzling and frankly disturbing spectacles in recent boxing memory. Coming from someone with Wilder's championship pedigree and experience, that kind of statement carries serious credibility. Wilder expressed genuine confusion that a former heavyweight champion like Joshua, someone who has competed at the absolute pinnacle of professional boxing, would agree to step into the ring with a social media personality. He questioned both the competitive validity of the matchup and the real reasons behind Joshua's decision to accept the fight. While Wilder acknowledged the obvious entertainment appeal and the undeniable financial benefits that nobody can ignore, he made it crystal clear that from a pure boxing perspective, from someone who has been champion and faced killers throughout his entire career, the matchup felt fundamentally wrong and unnatural. He emphasized the massive disparity in skill level, professional experience, and raw knockout ability between these two fighters, gaps that become impossible to ignore when you truly understand championship boxing. He also suggested, and this part really got people's attention, that Joshua's overall game plan and behavior might have been influenced by considerations extending far beyond athletic competition. Things like media obligations, streaming platform expectations, and business relationships rather than the simple desire to prove superior fighting ability. It's a pretty devastating critique from someone who knows exactly what authentic championship level boxing should look like.